Well, hello, I am at the Gale River trailhead, and I'm about to take you along on a little hike through the White Mountains. If you're following along with my hike through New Hampshire series, I attempted to hike a section of the Appalachian Trail in New Hampshire in July, and it was when we were getting tons and tons of rain, and I ended up having to bail out due to rain and thunderstorms. The section that I had to end early was between Liberty Springs and Crawford Notch. I've hiked that section of AT from Liberty Springs to about Mount Gio before, when I did the Pemi Loop. So really, all I need to do to continue is get that section from Mount Gio to Crawford Notch. There isn't really a quick and easy trail up to Mount Gio, and I've actually never hiked Galehead Mountain before, so I figured, why not start at the Gale River trailhead, hike up to Galehead, grab that, and then continue on the AT. And then I've done South Twin, which is on the Pemi Loop, but I've never done North Twin, so grab that too for my 48 4,000 footers list. Then continue along the AT from there, hitting up Zealand Mountain, which is another 4,000 footer I need. Then hike on from there on the AT all the way up to Crawford Notch. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a bunch of 4,000 footers, a bunch of elevation gain. I am doing this as an overnight, so I'm hoping to stealth camp somewhere, maybe like Mount Zealand area, and that'll kind of split the trip roughly in half mileage wise, but we'll see how far I get. I would really like to not be hiking in the dark if possible. If you watched my last video where I kind of like got lost in the dark in the wilderness, that was like not super fun. We're gonna try and avoid that if possible. The first part of this hike is going to be pretty gradual. Then I think maybe a half mile before we get to the top, it will start getting steep, and we're going to make it up to the Galehead hut, take a little break, use the bathroom, and then hit up Galehead. Weather today is basically perfect. It's low 60s, I would say, actually upper 50s, and it's sunny. We're not supposed to get any rain, but it is the Whites, so I prepared just in case. I did bring a tarp, so I might not sleep with the tarp, but I brought one. And tonight is lows in the upper 40s. For gear, I have my Kumo 36 in my typical summer backpacking setup, so I will be hammock camping tonight. And my bag is very light right now, so I don't anticipate any problems with pain on this trip. Gone about 2 miles so far, and the trail's just been kind of like this. It's been really nice. And I think we're like a little bit more than halfway to the top, where the hut is anyway. So making some good time. Easy peasy. I'm about 3.7 miles in for the day and we started climbing. It's been a lot of kind of stairs like this, so not so bad. There's a welcome sign. Quarter mile more to get to the hut. I guess we've already joined the AT. There was a branch back there, which makes total sense why it said Garfield Ridge Trail, because that was the trail to the campsite, which is on the AT, so I guess we met up with it at that point. Here we branch off to the hut. Half a mile to Galehead summit. I have left my pack at the hut. Figured that would help make this hike a little bit easier, because I still have quite a bit to go today. And we're climbing up that. Wow. This is the hut down there. That's where we just came from. I think we're almost up there. It's pretty quick without a pack on. We just came from the summit of Galehead, and not a whole lot of space up there. I was up there with 3 other people and a dog, so didn't record there, but not a whole lot to see. I did get a photo, which I will insert. And that was my number 32 of the 4,000 footers. So I'm getting there. Hopefully hit 2 more by the end of this trip. Made the mistake when I did the Pemi Loop of not grabbing this. It would have been so easy because we were all kind of gathered at the hut taking a really long break, and I could have left my pack behind and just ran up. And of course I was hiking with people who were, I perceived to be much faster than me, and I was self-conscious, and I felt like I needed to continue hiking along the Pemi Loop to get a head start, because I knew they would pass me at some point. And when I made it up to South Twin, it's actually a notoriously difficult part of the trail, but I was fueled with soup from the hut, so I tackled it no problem, and they didn't end up passing me. I ended up waiting for them at the top. I was needlessly self-conscious of my speed, and I should have just grabbed this while I was here instead of trying to push ahead, because it would have been fine. That's okay. We did it now. Just leaving the hut. Stop to refill water again. We're about to begin the arduous climb up South Twin. Although, I guess we have to go down to go up. Hey, who put all these rocks here?
Someone left all these rocks in the trail.
Still climbing, but I think I'm getting close. Wow. It's so nice to actually have a view up here. Didn't have one last time I was here. It was all clouded in. Looking at Franconia Ridge right there, and you can see Moosilauke in the background. Guess we go this way. It's kind of a mud pit through here, but I managed to find rocks to step on in the middle of it so far. Just finished a little bit of a descent, and then I think we have to go up there. Doesn't look too bad. I guess the summit is toward the outlook, or maybe it's at the outlook. Very nice. This is why you bring backups. It's not really working. Oh, something. It might be almost empty. But I do have matches, so I decided to cook dinner up here because it's so nice. I'm hungry, and nice flat rock. Got dinner rehydrating in there. And those clouds make me kind of glad that I brought my tarp. I have another 4 miles to get to where I was intending to camp tonight. And it's only, I think, an hour and a half before sunset, so I really don't want to hike in the dark. So I'm probably just going to go until I feel like it and then stealth camp somewhere that looks good. I did see a couple spots that look good between North Twin and South Twin. My other option is probably to keep going past Gio, just short of Zealand Mountain. See how I'm feeling when I get going after I eat. Sometimes when I eat dinner, I get more energy, and so I'm willing to go more miles. All right. I just finished dinner and I'm gonna hike onward, or go back toward South Twin, see how far I can get. I kind of want to press on if I can, but yeah, not if I'll be in the dark. So we'll see. I don't know, I figured 4 miles, that's gonna take me at least 2 hours, and by then it'll probably be dark. So I don't know. So that's sort of the area I was considering for camping, but I think I'm gonna push on. It's 5:17, so we'll see where another hour or so takes me. I do have renewed energy now that I've eaten, so I'm going to try and push on a little bit closer to what my goal was going to be. Made it back to South Twin, and we're going to start descending off of this and head toward Mount Gio, which is 2 miles away. And despite being 5:45, I'm still seeing a lot of hikers out. So I'm not the only one crazy enough to be hiking this close to dark. Well, it's 6:30 now, so it's about sunset, and it's gonna start getting too dark to film pretty soon, so I might need to update you again once I get to camp. But I'm about half mile away from the spur to Gio, so that'll be like a decision point for me if I want to push forward the additional mile to where I intended to camp, or I could go 0.6, I think it is, to the shelter, or try to find somewhere else to stealth camp. Okay, so you can still see stuff. Look how pretty. Getting really close to that spur. Yeah, I didn't realize it was 0.8 to that campsite. I'm not doing that. But the AT continues this way, so this is the way I'm going to go. And then I guess just whenever I find a spot that looks like a good place to camp, I'll stop. At least I can still see without my headlamp. So I'm doing better than I did last trip at any rate. This isn't going to come out great on the camera, but the remains of that sunset is making everything glow pink. Almost forgot to update. So I found a little stealth spot in this little nook off the trail, the base of Mount Zealand. It's a little muddy here, but it works, and I didn't want to search around more in the dark, so I made it work. Just getting warmed up now because it did chill down quite a bit. I'd say probably maybe upper 40s, low 50s. I hiked 12 miles today in like 8.5 hours or something like that, with breaks, but that's pretty good for the White Mountains. Pretty respectable. I think it was like 5,000 feet of elevation gain. Tomorrow looks easier, actually. We're going to climb Mount Zealand, but then after that, we're going to be descending a lot, and then it's going to be flat a lot. So I've got like 11 miles to Crawford Notch where I'm getting picked up. Got 2 new 4,000 footers today and 1 more tomorrow. Good day. Perfect weather. Good night. Good morning. I slept pretty well last night. Last night was the last day of summer, and today is the first day of autumn. So that's pretty cool. It was really, really quiet last night. There wasn't any sounds, no birds, insects, wind, nothing. It was weird. And this morning you can hear kind of wind in the distance and birds and everything. But yeah, that was different, sleeping in total silence. So I found out my ride is delayed. So I am going to need to hunker down here for a little while till I find out what's happening, because there's a possibility I might need to turn around and hike back to my own car. So I'm still gonna bag Zealand because I'm basically right there, but I might not be able to complete the rest of the trail that I had intended. So we'll see about that, but in the meantime, I'm just enjoying the slow start and keeping warm, because I think it's probably just as cold as it was last night, if not maybe a little colder. Don't get too close. Don't do it. You'll be sorry. Breakfast is bananas and cream oatmeal and Thai tea. Since I didn't get to show it last night, here's my hammock. I hung my bag off of the hammock. And I didn't put my tarp up last night, and it was fine. I'm on my way up Zealand. Lots of boulders. Wasn't expecting that. But my GoPro, even though it had more than 50% battery when I turned it on, died because it said that it had low battery, but I think it just didn't like the cold, unfortunately. So I'm gonna let that charge up and use my phone. So if we wanted to keep going the AT, we'd go that way, but instead we're gonna take a left, head for the summit. It's not too far from here. Oh, that's it. It seemed kind of anticlimactic, but here we are. My wooded summit. Can see some pokes to the trees. Give myself a summit photo, I guess. So I was originally planning on camping up here, and it would have been actually a nice place to camp. It's definitely trees spaced adequately apart. Got my GoPro up and running again. The good part about hiking back down to my car, which I decided to do because I don't know when or if my ride is going to be able to get here today, and I definitely don't have enough food to stay another night, so it's unfortunate, but I did get the 3 peaks I needed, which was what I cared most about. I can always get the section of trail at a later point. So even though I have to hike back to my car, it's actually going to be shorter than it was yesterday because I don't need to hit up those side trails to get those 2 peaks. So that's going to save me a good, I think, 3 or 4 miles. And we'll be going down a lot more than we're going up this way. So it shouldn't take 8.5 hours or whatever it was like it did yesterday. So that's good. And we're getting a much earlier start. It's not even 9:30 yet. Yesterday I think we started at 11. It's gonna be another nice day, I think. My only worry is about water, because there's not really any water sources until I get to Galehead Hut. And I have about a half liter left, so I'm just gonna have to ration that. Probably be pretty thirsty by the time I get back to the hut. Just a little update. I came down off of Mount Gio, and now I'm heading back up South Twin, and I have a cup of water left, but I'm only 2.3 away from the hut, and after I get up to South Twin, it's just gonna be that steep descent. So I think I'm gonna make it. Just came down off of South Twin and got 3/4 of a mile to get to Galehead Hut. So I'm gonna stop in there, refill my water, and see if they have any food. So I've got about 6 miles, I think, to get back to the car, and all of the really hard stuff is done. Just got this steep descent, and then a little break, and then more descending. But really the Gale River Trail wasn't that bad. It was just long, so I should be able to make a good pace though. Heading back to the car. I think we have like 4.5 miles, and the first part I remember there being some climbing, and then I think it got more gradual. So I might be able to pick up the pace a little bit as I go. Hoping to get back to the car by around 3. Bye for now, AT. Back on the Gale River Trail. Hopefully that means no more having to pull over every 10 feet to let people pass, because Pemi Loop has so much traffic. Mostly trail runners out today. So many people do that. Like almost to the point where I see more trail runners than hikers. Well, I made it back to the car. Pretty tired after all that hiking. Made pretty good time. Got back to the car, it was like 3:15, so pretty good. But I'm gonna head home. So thank you for following along on my little adventure, even though it didn't go quite as planned. One day I will get those other miles, but for now, thank you for watching and happy trails. So something weird just happened. When I got to the end of where like the Gale River Trail road kind of connects with the other dirt road, there was these two guys and they were sitting in chairs and they like waved at me and they said, they asked which direction the main road was, and I pointed it out, you know, Route 3, it's about a mile that way. And they were like, a mile? We were trying to get an Uber, and they were like, is there any chance we could give you $10 to get us there? And I was just like, no, something sounded really off about it. Like, they did not look like they were through hikers, because they had chairs, so there was no way they would have carried chairs if they were through hiking. So yeah, that whole situation didn't feel right, so I just said no. I feel like I've heard of that type of scheme before, where someone will ask you for a small thing, and then once you agree to that, they'll ask for a bigger thing, and so on and so forth. And they could have been campers, because there is a campground there, but if so, how did they get there, and how did they not know where the main road was? So there's a lot of questions about this. So I'm editing this video and I realized that I left things kind of abruptly. I didn't have any more information about who those guys were or anything, but I was a little creeped out by the experience. If you've had a similar experience where someone tried to ask you for something and you weren't comfortable while you were out hiking or at a trailhead, let me know in the comments. I think that I handled that okay. I mean, I did tell them where the road was, so if they really were trying to get somewhere, it would have been an easy 1 mile walk for them. But even if it wasn't that easy, I don't think anyone should ever feel guilty about saying no if they don't feel safe in a certain situation. But everything worked out okay, and I had a really nice trip. It was perfect weather. I got the 4,000 footers that I needed and got a couple miles of my hike through New Hampshire done anyway. So overall, I'm really happy with how that trip went. Thanks for watching and happy trails.